Hi, welcome and welcome back. I hope you're doing well and you've had a good day, a good week, a good month. Thanks for being here and stick around, take a moment, take a breath, take a sigh, relax, let it out. Use this as an opportunity to be seated in yourself. Take time to pause, to meditate, to relax. You've arrived, okay? That feeling, you've arrived. So let's just go with that. What was I going to say? Take what resonates, leave the rest, and let's see what unfolds for you with this story. I'm going to get some moon cards. First of all, Moonology. We've not long had the full moon in Aquarius a few days ago, and now the moon is on its waning cycle. So that would be the ebbing cycle. Although of course the tide ebbs and flows all the time. It's sunset here, and I'm just looking. There's a gorgeous sunset, and I can see it through the trees. And I wanted to come and film this for you. I could have sat with the sunset a bit longer. I wanted to get a video up and ready for you. I was just cooking and sort of rolling things through my mind. So I'm not sure exactly where the energy is going to go, whether it's going to be light or deep, but I trust that these will be messages for your highest good and greatest well-being. And as ever, we're going to do, oh look, we've got three. We're going to follow that little story, sort of past, present, future. Let's see what the flow is. Balance, spirituality and practicality. Isn't that funny? I guess cooking and having your mind on spiritual issues is a mixture of both, the material world, spiritual. North Node, step out of your comfort zone. Okay. And expect powerful change. Okay, this is why I wanted to come and give you this reading, I think. I think there's stuff to be seen, to be heard. Let's see if I can get another. Wow, these are beautiful cards. What a lovely combination. And these have got I love purple and green together. I think is it purple and green or yellow and purple on the spectrum colour wheel? But look, this beautiful eclipse imagery captures this green. It's kind of like the aurora borealis lights the atmosphere. This is a lovely reminder, and I can see this also being sort of an integration of that Virgo-Pisces axis, where Virgo could be considered more focused on nourishment of day-to-day routines, like cooking, cleaning, taking care of things, domestic or work, whichever environment. And Piscean can be seen as the etheric, esoteric, otherworldly. We need both. Someone might have their North Node, South Node on the Virgo-Pisces axis, thinking about it. And actually we do have transiting North and South Node in the late degrees of Pisces and Virgo. And they will be there for quite a while longer because they move backwards. So they'll be heading in the opposite direction of everything else. Right. I'm going to get a mystical shaman oracle card as well for this. Lightning. Hang on a sec. I can hear some dogs wanting attention. Right, I'm back. Lightning. Look at these beautiful blues. Blues, greens, purples. Okay, I'll take those. Oh, well, there's three. Yeah. Just pop that to the side for now. Ooh. Excuse Excuse me, that was very noisy. Bang. Yeah, okay. The council's come up in a few readings recently. Rainmaker, lightning, the council. Beautiful. This is beautiful. I just had to pause it. There's a twofold meaning, and of course with these, the two layers, the first layer is a reminder and an invitation and a call to be in one's integrity. It's not saying that you don't already live in integrity. This is a reminder and invitation to be stepping up and just doing like a bit of a check of oneself and where you're at. You know, like anything, you can get into routines and rhythms and then just need to adjust or be aware of your surroundings again. So the first is this invitation to integrity. And the second, the reason why there is this reminder of being in integrity, and of course, part of that is one's spiritual path and growth and evolution and responsibility as a being that belongs to humanity, but also the greater collective of life in the universe. The other layer, the reason why that invitation is there is because you are about to shift into something very powerful and profound. That's either from work that you have been doing for the longest time, or because either, you know, manifesting externally in your world, but mostly because of the work you've been doing internally. Gosh, that sounded a very long-winded way of saying things are about to start changing and shaking up. So with the Rainmaker, there's the power to bring drought or flood. There's the power to nourish and nurture. And with this, it's a bit like the intention of when you're doing something or blessing something and you ask that it may be good for you, may be for your highest good and greatest well-being or greatest good. That ensures automatically that it will already cause no harm to self or other. So when you're in integrity and in alignment, choosing to take action and asking for guidance that is for your highest good and greatest well-being will always ensure that you're in integrity and in alignment, even if the logical mind doesn't understand where you're being shown and where you're being taken. And that coming with this balance of the spirituality and practicality is a how-to. How do I balance the practical, mundane parts of life from the duties and the day-to-day chores or obligations or commitments that we've chosen, as well as the fun parts of this kind of the practical material world, with this etheric and beautiful, nuanced and nourishing spiritual side. By being in integrity and ensuring that what you're doing is for your highest good and greatest well-being, and therefore for the highest good and greatest well-being, being of service. So that's the how-to, and that's that ensures bypassing the ego that might want to get you entangled in all sorts of conversations about things and go down all sorts of rabbit holes and various stuff. Balancing spirituality and practicality. How do you do that? Be in integrity. You're being asked to be in integrity because there are powerful changes coming through. The next eclipse portal, I don't know, I'll have to check, but I think it's around the autumn. The last one was sort of February, March, roughly. Don't quote me on that. So the next one will be roughly, I don't know, October, November, or September, October. I haven't really looked recently. So we're between two eclipse portals, as it were. And I remember doing a reading around that first eclipse portal season, that 2-week window between the new moon and the full moon. And there was something about manifesting during that portal, that 2-week window, and then again later, 6 months later, we would have the next eclipse season. And whether it's something that's going to come in through this next eclipse portal or between now and then, or whenever you're watching this, for sure it's going to come in fast. And it is like divine inspired Uranian power and energy. And you have to be in your integrity and in alignment in order to receive it well and not be blown up by it. You don't want to be struck by lightning and unprepared, metaphorically speaking. Okay, I hope this is making sense, because I feel like there's more words tumbling through my mind than are coming out of my mouth. So I'll be repeating and reiterating for that purpose. So we have the council here as the wise, guiding, overseeing energy that's reminding you that it's not all on your shoulders, that you are divinely supported. You have your own divine team in spirit. You have your ancestry, your guides, your guardians, whatever divine beings that you choose to work with, or even if it's just that you work purely and simply with source directly. You are guided and supported, and there is wisdom and guidance available to you. And the fact that this is showing up, chances are you may have felt a little bit adrift and not very supported for a bit, for a moment, for a minute, or at various points throughout your life. Being asked to be in our North Node is challenging, okay? So this is the third fold reason of being in integrity and being in alignment and ensuring that we're making choices for our highest good and greatest well-being. Because there are these powerful changes, and we are also being asked to step up yet again. And if you're the kind of person, if you're here, then you're already the kind of person that does the spiritual work, is engaged in spiritual work, or at the very least has something in their being, in their DNA, that calls them forward more and beyond, beyond the veil, beyond the limited structure that denies spirituality. And integration is, of course, what this path and unfolding journey of awakening is all about. Wow, these are really beautiful messages. So we're getting the information plus we're getting the guidance embedded in it at the same time. And this is the reminder and the invitation and a call to action in terms of, being prepared and being in your energy, being in integrity. Let's see if we'll get some. Actually, because of the colours, I'm gonna go with this, the Wandering Star, which actually feels very appropriate with the North Node card here. 8 of Cups. Yeah. This may be requiring you to walk away from something that you have invested in, perhaps for a whole lifetime, something that you love dearly and has great meaning to you. But you're at a point where you're doing a bit of a life review and assessing things, and perhaps being asked to make some difficult choices. And again, that's what the council is about. It's that life review process, normally once you've stepped into that next transition. Right. Okay, death is here. Yeah. This is probably a profound change, a huge moving on that you're being asked to step away from and forwards to. I just saw 1444 on the clock, and I'm just going to get some more light. Hold on. Okay, it's a little bit more light. I love doing these readings for this, whoever the collective is that keeps turning up and coming back. there's some really powerful and interesting energies in your soul and in your soul group. So just to say that I love doing these readings for you. Yes, this is why it's challenging, because you are being faced with those deal breaker kind of energies. I've got 2 dogs sniffing and a beeper. Hang on. Right, quite a few distractions there. Right, we had several interruptions, so I'm going to see if I can pick up from where we were. I've kind of lost. I was sort of in a bit of a liminal space, and my head sort of jumped out of that. I was talking about distractions because I kept having them. So you are being asked to step up in this integrity because you are facing some tough choices and quite possibly walking away from something that maybe you don't really want to fully, although you know that you have to, and there's a huge transformation ahead. Maybe that's part of your work, something that's profound transformation. Yeah, I think these disruptions that I'm getting are sort of part of it, which is why I was going to start re-recording, but I think I'm just going to keep going and just keep going beyond the distractions. 10 of Cups, wow, that's beautiful. This is definitely with this energy of expect powerful change, mirrored with this, the death transformation card here. Completely sort of lost my train of thought, and that could be how you're feeling. You could be, waking up a bit like that Talking Heads song and sort of looking at your life going, where am I? What's been going on? What have I been doing for the last few years, decades, however long? What's going on? And it might be that sense of, the story of the guy that goes to get the milk and the newspaper, and he walks out his house and then just keeps on walking. I'm not saying that you're going to abandon people and sort of be irresponsible, obviously, but it's that feeling of taking, I was going to say a rain check, of taking a stock take, which is what the word that was coming up in my mind at the beginning of the reading. Stock check, stock take, taking stock. Got there in the end. It is that feeling of waking up going, is this my life? Is this my life? I can change. It's not quite what I want, or it's not what I want anymore. And this is, that's a big decision to make. And obviously I'm not suggesting people just walk out on marriages and families and careers and all sorts of things. I'm just saying that the energy of that feeling is here, and the universe and your divine support team and your higher self are nudging you. Just like a little bit of a wake up call. Yeah, Queen of Cups, and done with a lot of compassion and a lot of love and a care. And so this isn't just abandonment and walking out and leaving people. This is with integrity and love and wisdom and compassion. And it is leading to the 10 of Cups, so it will be for the greater good, right? Which is exactly what the Rainmaker card is about. If we use our powers and gifts and abilities for purely selfish, egotistical and fear-based unacknowledged shadow elements that ultimately cause harm to self and other, then they will be destructive, and that's when you get the drought. Yeah, Queen of Wands. This is being in your integrity and taking responsibility for your power, for your skills, gifts and abilities. So that's not to be in denial of your power. It's use it wisely. Use it wisely. Use it with integrity. Yeah. With this deck, I always see the 10 of Wands as that sort of witch wound quite clearly, because she's been burnt at the stake with this 10 of Wands. It's like the perfect imagery for that witch wound. So quite possibly the things that are coming up now are things that you've dealt with or have been part of your story in many lifetimes. And the theme that's carried through this sense of persecution and burden and obligations put upon the human being in a life construct where their heart and their soul and their higher self know different. They know otherwise. They're beyond the game and they just observe with love and compassion, the observing witness of self playing its role in the human world. So, and this witch wound, I feel, would be in many forms. It's not just that era of that kind of witch hunt. I'm also seeing sort of ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia and other ancient civilizations and energies and expressions of human life or life forms with similar kind of scenarios where there's a like a victim and a persecuted and an outcast. That's literally where the term the scapegoat comes from, is that the villagers used to tie all their sins and their burdens to the goat and then chase it out the village in the belief that they were sending it away from the devil. They were sending the devil and all the bad energy out of the village. Literally the scapegoat. It was a thing. Okay, that's quite a ramble. I wonder what that's. So, yeah, this is interesting energy that you're dealing with. Oh, hang on a sec. Right, I just had to rearrange. It just seemed easier to pause it. How many major arcanas? Just death so far. And then 2 queens. 10 of cups, which is beautiful, and the 8 of cups. And that's the thing about the 8 of cups is that he, in the traditional Rider-Waite, you see him leaving these 8 of cups because there isn't satisfaction and he's going off to find his 9. And instead you've gone and found your 10th, which is beautiful. But it's this witch wound, let's just call it that. But it can be called many other names that you're processing and dealing with. And really the whole collective of society and humanity is dealing with it. And we're seeing it being played out in various forms across the globe, in our personal lives, in the macro, in the micro. The 8 of Wands. Okay, I was just thinking about the media and how that's conveying these archetypes, and we can use that as a scapegoat. We can, throw rotten tomatoes at the TV and the media, or the politicians or whoever. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but I'm just saying that we each have our personal scapegoats as well, also known as projection. So there might be something literally on mainstream media, and of course then all the other media outlets coming through that's quite surprising, quite something like revolutionary. Not just your normal like headlines and blah 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 and here's another war and another heartbreaking part of humanity's. Okay, at some point this stopped recording, so I don't know if it something happened there. I was having a bit of a ramble, so okay, I feel like there's some big news coming through globally, but in your world, and it's going to turn things upside down. It's going to cause people to scramble, not that they aren't already. Wow. But for you in particular, this news is going to come and it's going to help you with perhaps the decision that you're making. Perhaps you've got a very specific decision and it's not just walking away, it's a case of this or that. And perhaps you've been going between it, and that's really how the North Node and the South Node work to some extent, is that we're sort of comfortable in our South Node energies and that's our default, our MO, it's what we reset to. But really the challenge is to embrace and embody the North Node qualities. And quite often people don't understand, when they look at and they find out what their North Node and South Node is and a bit more about the energies and perhaps the house placement, sometimes, not always, quite often, don't relate to the North Node energies at all. And I, for one, completely, I do wonder about my own North Node and South Node and think, that can't be right. But they're there for about 18 months in a sign. So, they're not wrong. It's not like the ascendant, which is dependent minute by minute, or Mercury or Moon. And if you don't know your North Node, find out. But if you don't necessarily relate to your North Node, or even the pair, then it's not just moving from the South to the North Node. It's that step, which is an important step. But then also the next step is integrating, so it's both. Okay, I think we've got back to this balance of spirituality and practicality, this integration. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, there's some news coming in that's going to help you with this integration, this balance of your North and South Node. Specifically, perhaps things like past life, witch wound energy, and it's going to be victorious and successful for you. But bearing in mind, we do have the Death card here, which is a major arcana. So I'm not saying this is, all lipstick and bubblegum and an easy walk in the park kind of vibe. I feel like this is a really good reading, as in it's complete and it's full. And yes, there's awareness about things coming up, and maybe haven't expressed how challenging and difficult things have been. But I think if you're here, then you already know that. You know the path that you've been on. Especially, we see this Ten of Wands here, just above the Death card. So, can you hear a dog chewing her foot in the background? She's not chewing her foot. She's just licking her paw. Where was I? Yeah, I actually feel like this is probably complete, your reading. I think we've got, that's it. So also, bearing in mind that the council, as your oversoul and higher self and true highest hearts, it knows all your former lives and various incarnations or parallel lives, or however you describe them, and is well aware of the energy. So I feel like you're also integrating and drawing back energy from all these different past lives or parallel lives, or however you view them. You're drawing all this energy into this one life here now, which is a huge transformational process. And you are balancing your spirituality. You are bringing in this yoking of the divine sacred feminine, the divine sacred masculine, these inner polarities. You're embodying and owning them yourself, which is why I sort of went on this ramble about the scapegoat and the projection and the witch wound. It's seeing how we all, we can all be engaged in these energies in various ways, even if we think we're not. It's very easy to point the finger and see it expressed outside, but that's not that isn't a criticism either. That's just a natural process of the psychology. Otherwise the brain would be overwhelmed with constantly. It's too much lightning to have full awareness instantly. So we can notice those moments and go, okay, yeah, that's me sort of slightly projecting or scapegoating that kind of energy, not in a bad way, but just seeing that as a sort of slight protection or defense mechanism within the psyche, just to give you breathing space. I really hope this is making sense, because there's, like I said, there's lots of words coming out, and I think that's it really. That's do we need any more? No, we don't, but I did just notice we've got the moon card at the bottom of the Rider-Waite, which is nice to see there. So just see how things go over the next 2 weeks and 28 days. See how the moon cycle flows with your own energies, and trust yourself. Be in integrity, in alignment. Know that you're being asked to step up a bit more, because powerful changes are ahead of you, and you're a powerful being. So brilliant. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing your energy, and feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, and whatever else. Okay, speak soon. Take care. Bye.